Hey, so I'm back. Just kind of want to document the thoughts that I've been having. You guys hear the cars passing by. I'm walking back to the house. But anyway, I combed out my hair, my locks, only to twist my head back up. Um, I don't know. It's just easier for my hair to for me to manage my hair when it's in this state, and especially after I combed it out. It's been super dry, as you can see, like some of my ends. I need to go home and clip those. But see, those little spots right there. I'm gonna go ahead and clip that off. Just to, replenish some of the moisture in my hair. And then maybe I'll flat iron it at some point this year. I definitely want to wait until the weather starts to cool off before I do any of that, because my hair and the humidity just don't work. See, as you can see, my roots are already starting to puff up in those little spots. But I'm going to just cut those off because I think that's more so dead hair than anything. Yeah, so like I said, I want to kind of get on here and talk about my thoughts that I've been having. I know I promised that I was going to write a tell-all book about my life, but I'm still honestly going back and forth with myself about it, because my story really doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter. And I think a part of me wants to tell the story because that's just one way that things can play out. And I truly believe that that's the purpose for any of us, really, we're all reflections of the Most High, of God, of the universe, of whatever. And we're all just experimenting, seeing what can come about given the circumstance and the variables that we're given. And so sharing my story would be sharing with other people who are on the same journey as I am. It'll be showing them different scenarios or different ways that things can go. But at the same time, I know that sharing my story comes with repercussions. It causes other people to focus on that. It kind of feeds into people who tend to focus on gossip and who tend to focus on negativities and draw that out. So I'm still wanting to write the book, but I'm not 100% entirely sure that sharing my story is going to fulfill the intentions that I have for this. And so I had to ask myself, what's your reason? What's your reason for wanting to share your story? What's your reason for being a teacher? What's your reason for getting up every morning? What is the thing that is really behind it all? What is driving you? What's motivating you? And my answer was to just be given the opportunity to possibly spark something in somebody else, possibly be able to motivate somebody else, possibly be able to be that person that helps them along in their journey, whatever that looks like, however that looks like, right? And I'm realizing that certain ways that I have been behaving don't really contribute to that. They don't contribute to what it is that I say is my driving factor. And so, I had to really start applying certain things that I've always known, but it's we get information and we apply it to that's another reason why I didn't want to share my story. Whatever these are these cicadas? Whatever these bugs are that like be in the tree making all this noise, they're like super loud in front of my house for some reason. But I'm gonna try to finish this out anyway, and then go inside. So that's another reason why I don't want to share my story, because shoot, where was I lost my train of thought. My motivation, and like realizing that the way that I've been going about things is not correct. And then, right, so I had to get real with myself about why I wanted to share my story. And part of it is so that, people could look at me and say, oh, wow, you've gone through so much and you've come over on the other side. Like, it's part of it is partially an ego thing, right? And I didn't want that to be my focus. I didn't want other people to think that that was my focus. And most importantly, I didn't want for that to be my focus, like for me to be like doing that and not realizing it, right? If I'm going to do it, I want to do it completely aware of what it is that I'm doing. Because that way, when people come and say XYZ, I can be sure of myself and know, no, this is the reason why I did it, and be secure in that, and be like not really caring. I feel that like when other people's opinions really bother us is when we were not 100% sure of why we were doing something in the first place. And then so when they come and they could say something to kind of move you off your square, it's because you weren't secure in what it is that you did. So I want to be sure, if this is the route that I'm going with this tell-all book and I'm really going in and telling my story, I want to be sure that I am secure in that decision. And if I decide not to go that route, I also want to be secure in that decision. So it's taking a little bit longer than planned, but it is happening. I just got to get myself to that point to where I'm ready. And another thing that I wanted to share, kind of the same, kind of not. I've really been juggling back and forth with whether or not I want to be in the classroom. I know I've made a few videos saying that, backing away from it is what I want to do, but it keeps calling me, like it keeps coming back around. Like, that saying, when you love something, let it go. And if it comes back, that's how you know. It keeps coming back. So, and I've been like, trying to change my career path, and that those efforts haven't really been working. So I just have to accept that maybe teaching is for me. And then now I'm in a position where I'm teaching kindergarten, the babies. And you have to have a special type of patience, a special type of gift to be able to teach kindergartners without ripping your hair out. Especially in the current structure that kindergarten is set up in. It is too much for 4 and 5-year-olds to throw all that structure on them and expect them to adapt within a week, within a month, or whatever. And so just understanding that, and then finding ways to have grace and to be patient with them has really been a challenge. And I had an epiphany. I was sitting in the park and I guess meditating. Whatever. And a thought came to me, and it was like, the way that you've been approaching teaching your kindergartners is incorrect. Keep in mind that they are learning everything, even things that we would think that would be common sense, even things that we would think that you wouldn't have to explicitly teach somebody. You have to go in with that mind state of they are learning literally everything. They just came from learning how to walk. They just came from learning how to talk. And now we're expecting them to walk in a straight line and not want to play and know like things that it takes a really long time to develop and learn that some adults haven't even been able to grasp. So just understanding that and being able to give them a different type of understanding, because obviously you're in kindergarten, so you got to teach them their ABCs and their numbers. And I noticed that I was a lot more patient with them when it came to things that I had already accepted that I would need to teach them. It was only when I was faced with things that I feel like they should have already known, or that I shouldn't have to teach them, they should just get, is when I found myself a little bit less patient, a little bit less understanding of their position. We just got to kind of, and then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, that's kind of where I was going earlier, like just being able to apply something that we learn to everything, not just the thing that the person, that's where I was going. Okay, perfect. So I had heard before from a speaker, actually, from a motivational speaker, I believe when I was like in high school, maybe at some point in my life, my young life, before I turned 18 for sure, I heard a speech from somebody, and they said that the thing that helped them change, like really make a big impactful change in their life, was when they just started to see everything and everybody as learning opportunities. Everybody's learning, and so am I. And everything is a learning opportunity. Everything is just changing your perspective on things. Like realizing that the way that you look at it makes all the difference. And understanding that you can make a choice to look at it however you want to look at it in order to get whatever result it is that you're looking for. And if you're not getting the result that you're looking for, it's because you're not looking at it in the right perspective. Simple. It's not because anybody's out to get you. It's not because that thing is not for you. It's not because of any of the other excuses that we give. It's simply because you're not looking at it from the right perspective. So, I didn't want me to tell my story and then somebody looks at it as like, oh, well, I didn't go through that same exact thing, so they don't take the lesson that the whole thing was meant to provoke in the first place. It's like the example is just something to provide context, but in a lot of cases, especially when somebody's still learning, they might make the mistake of focusing on the thing that was supposed to provide context rather than focusing on the deeper meaning that's behind it all. So I didn't want to tell my story and then the focus is simply on my story. Oh, she did this, she did that, this and that happened. I didn't want that to be the focus. I wanted the reason for why I told the story in the first place to be the focus. So now I'm exploring how I can still make the focus without per se telling my story, without providing a distraction, where it can be clear, or if I can still tell my story and tell it in a way to where it's apparent that this is just my experience, this is just the way that I have lived, this is just one way that it could play out, and just understanding, like, take what I learned and apply it to what you're currently going through. It can still be applied, even though it was a completely different situation and completely different people were at play and it was in a different time and whatever happened, right? Even if you can't relate to me in any way, shape, or form, my experience should still be useful to you. And how do I make it so? So that's kind of what I've been focusing on lately. And it's taken a while, but I'm getting there, slowly but surely. Personal things are happening. I'm really getting down to like what it is that, just settling in, coming to terms with things. And yeah, there are ups and downs. Sometimes it's really great. Sometimes it really sucks. And here we are. So, until next time, guys, be well.